Motorcycles mean a lot of different things to different people. For some people, it's a means of transportation. For some people, it's a means of recreation. And for others, it's a little of both. They come in all shapes, sizes, colors, and displacements, but they also come with different attitudes and different personalities. Going from the Honda Goldwing to the Indian Challenger was a definite change in motorcycle personality. Several people have asked me why I sold the Goldwing and why I got the Indian Challenger, because I really like the Goldwing. So today I want to tell you about why I switched from the Goldwing to the Challenger. But before we get into that, here's an interesting story about selling the Goldwing. I actually traded the bike in McKinney, Texas, at a dealership there that had the Indian Challenger, the 22 Challenger. It was one of the only ones in the DFW area that had a new one in stock. And the other day I get this email from a guy just out of the blue named David in Norman, Oklahoma, who recently bought a 2018 Honda Goldwing and was watching some videos on YouTube as he was researching the motorcycle. I do that too. If I'm buying a new motorcycle, I usually show up at the dealership and I know about as much about the bike as they do. Well, anyway, David's watching these videos and learning about the Goldwing, and he stumbles across some videos that I did some time back about the options that I put on my Goldwing. So as David recounted to me in a story that he sent me an email, he's watching the video and he said, "Man, my bike has those lights. My bike's got that same seat. That sure looks like the motorcycle I bought. And it even had an MCrider decal on the back of it. What are the odds?" So his wife's sitting there with him and she looks me up online, finds out I'm from the Dallas-Fort Worth area where he purchased the bike. So he sent me an email, and sure enough, David bought my Goldwing and even sent me a picture of it in its new state in Oklahoma. So you got a great bike, David. Congratulations on your new Goldwing. That was kind of funny how that worked out. But right after I made the decision public that I'd sold my Goldwing, and I started getting comments and emails asking why I sold the wing, so I want to try to answer that in this video. Have you ever tried to understand why you do some of the things that you do? For me, it can quickly turn into a philosophical discussion, and I've had my fair share of philosophy classes working on my bachelor's degree and my master's degree. But I've come to understand if there's one thing that will help explain philosophy, it's ice cream. You see, motorcycles are like ice cream. And what flavor a person gets will tell you a lot about the type of motorcycle that they might enjoy. I've owned a Harley-Davidson Road King in the past. It was loud, had attitude, and it rumbled your fillings loose at a stoplight. It was definitely the chocolate end of the ice cream spectrum. I also had my recently owned Honda Goldwing. It was very relaxed, very refined, and silky smooth on acceleration and at stoplights. So you go to the other side of the ice cream machine and you find vanilla, the Honda Goldwing. There's nothing wrong with either ice cream, and I'm a big fan of both. I just don't live exclusively on one side of the machine or the other. Sometimes you get chocolate because you want something bold and full of flavor and attitude, and you get a Harley-Davidson. Sometimes you want vanilla. You want something silky smooth and always delivers, and you buy a Honda Goldwing. Sometimes you want the best of both worlds. You want a refined motorcycle that has a smooth engine with more top end, but it looks like it would eat your Chihuahua if it yapped at it. And you get an Indian Challenger, the swirled ice cream of the motorcycle world. The Challenger truly is a mix of Harley attitude with Honda refinement and smoothness. And right now it has me putting my cone right in the middle of that ice cream machine and getting a little chocolate and a little vanilla, and it sure tastes great. The Challenger offers some of the same engine smoothness, though not as much as the Goldwing. It offers some of the attitude of the Road King, but in a more civilized manner. Has all the safety features that I like in a refined touring bike with ABS, cornering ABS, traction control, cruise control, and all the electronic features of a well-polished touring bike. And yet it has that presence and attitude of a big American-made touring bike when it's rolling down the road and it pulls up to a stop sign. There's a great sense of adventure to head out on a multi-day trip on a motorcycle. Heck, you can find that same sense of adventure just riding across town. There's also a sense of adventure in moving from one personality of motorcycle to another. You know, there are new sounds, there are new things to learn. How does it handle? What are the riding characteristics? What emotions does a motorcycle evoke in me compared to the motorcycle I had previously? All of those are part of the joys of riding a motorcycle, and part of the reason why I've never been a real brand loyalist when it comes to motorcycle ownership. If you want to eat one flavor of ice cream your entire life and never try anything in between, I have no problems with that. You do you. But for me, sometimes the Road King scratches the itch, sometimes it's the Goldwing, and sometimes it's something a little more in between, and I ride an Indian Challenger. No new motorcycle introduction would be complete here on MCrider if I didn't get some options installed on it that are not available to the general public. You know, my Goldwing had some of those features installed. You can see that by going to MCrider.com/Goldwing, and you can see some of the stuff I installed there. And sorry, David, as part of my agreement with Honda Motorcycles, I had to uninstall that Hot Pocket and other features when I traded in the Goldwing, so don't run out to your garage and hope you're going to have a nice Hot Pocket waiting for you out there. I had to uninstall all that stuff. So as you're probably aware, the Indian Challenger is an all-American motorcycle. It's designed, built, and bred right here in America, and I think Indian Motorcycles wanted to capitalize on that American heritage with the food options that they've made available to the Indian Challenger. So what you can get installed, you get a main course, a dessert, and a drink available for the Challenger. And I really think Indian knocked it out of the park with this. For the main course, there's nothing better than pulling over to the side of the road after a long day in the saddle and enjoying a nice hot dog. Let me demo the hot dog feature for you. Bike's got to be on, so you got to power it up first. And then once it gets booted up, you'll get into your Indian screen. And then everything's controlled. Let's get through ride command here. Say okay. Everything's controlled with this switch. So you get to the menu screen. All right, there we are. We select hot dog. We want the main course now, so I select hot dog. And then whenever I press this button, it begins to cook. Doesn't take long at all. And by the time it's done, man, you've got a nice hot dog ready for lunch. Just sit down and have a meal. Man, it doesn't get any easier than that. So one thing about this hot dog feature that I find kind of weird on the Challenger is I have no idea where the hot dogs are stored in this thing. It comes with a lifetime supply of hot dogs and buns, and I asked them if it was okay to park the motorcycle in the heat with all these dogs on board, and they assured me it was okay to do so. You know, I guess that's the thing about hot dogs, though. Nobody really knows where they come from anyway. You just eat the thing and don't ask any questions. And sometimes the less you know, the better it tastes. For dessert on the Challenger, they stuck with that American theme, and they offer one dessert that's tied to America more than any other, and that's apple pie. So you've had your hot dog, you're ready for a little dessert. You know, and the nice thing about the dessert feature is you don't have to have the other stuff first. You can just pull over and have dessert anytime you want. Again, we're controlling with the left screen. We go down to dessert, push this button, and it starts bringing up our dessert. Go back over here, open it up. Man, look at that. Look at that apple pie. That is just cooked perfectly. You know, it's really delicious. It's got a lot of apples in it, and it's always really good. The crust on these is just really delicious. You know, hats off to Indian. You guys did a fantastic job with this feature. I really, really like this apple pie feature. My only problem with the apple pie is you don't get any ice cream with it. You know, the Indian rep said that they're working on a solution for that, and it might be available in the 2024 model, but for now, I'm okay, I guess, with just the apple pie. So you've got your all-American meal of hot dogs and apple pie, but they decided to make the drinks more regional depending on where you get it installed. You know, I was going to do this install myself, but it's strictly dealer installed option because they have to reflash the ECU when they put all this stuff on your Challenger. So I got mine installed at Heritage Indian in Rogers, Arkansas, and because the drinks are regional, Mine came with this soda option. You know, it's amazing how cold that they can keep these sodas even when it gets really hot outside. So for the drink menu, there's a coin slot here. I've got some in my pocket here. So you get coins ready for that slot there. You put them in. Got your coins in there. You hit enter. There's your drink. And this is the drink dispenser on this one. Again, it's regional, so it depends on where you got your aftermarket accessories installed, depending on what drink you get. In my case, it's Mountain Dew, and I've been pretty happy with that. Now, I don't know all the regional drink options that Indian's got available, but you might do some research because it might help you decide where you want to get this installed if you're going to have this installed on your Challenger. I do know that dealers in Arkansas region install Mountain Dew dispensers. If you get it installed in Texas, you're going to get sweet tea. California gets Perrier sparkling water. And personally, I kind of think that New Orleans option is a little bit dangerous, but just make sure that you're using this at the end of the day if you decide to get the drink dispenser installed in New Orleans, because in New Orleans, it'll give you one of those, foot-tall margarita glasses with the frozen margarita in it. It comes complete with the giant straw and the little umbrella at the top. Just make sure you've got the bike parked for the end of the day and that you're not riding after you down one of those foot-tall margaritas. But anyway, use caution if you're going to get that installed in New Orleans. Anyway, I'm happy with the Challenger. It's been a fantastic machine so far, and it really does split the difference in smoothness, power, and refinement of the Honda Goldwing with the looks, rumble, and torque of a Harley-Davidson touring motorcycle. Kind of sits right in there in between, and something right now that I'm really enjoying. I'm really happy with the bike. Depending on what you want in a motorcycle, I wouldn't hesitate to recommend any one of those three, the Road King, the Goldwing, or the Challenger. They've all been great machines for me so far, and all serve the same purpose with a little different flair, and all contribute to making the world of motorcycles more fun and more adventurous. Till next week, guys, it's Kevin with MCrider, and I'll see you on the road.